The threat. The broadcast began at dawn. Every screen, every holographic feed, every communication relay across the planet flickered with the same message. A towering alien figure, cloaked in silver and arrogance, addressing Earth with imperial disdain. "I am Ambassador Tor of the Galactic Empire," he declared, his voice deep and resonant, translated automatically into every human language. "You stand before the greatest civilization in the cosmos. Your world is primitive, your weapons laughable, your species inefficient. Yet, our Emperor offers you mercy. Submit your sovereignty, offer tribute, and humanity will be allowed to live as a vassal species beneath our protection." The feed zoomed closer, his slit-like eyes narrowing. "Refuse, and Earth will be cleansed. Entirely." For a long moment, the planet was silent. Then chaos erupted. In New York, protesters filled the streets, shouting into the skies. In Beijing and Moscow, generals barked orders across encrypted networks. Religious leaders called it the reckoning. Scientists called it first contact. But the soldiers, they called it what it was: a threat. 2 days later, deep beneath the Swiss Alps, the United Terran Council convened inside a chamber carved for black stone and steel. Nations that had been rivals for centuries now sat side by side beneath the banner of a blue Earth, encircled by silver stars. Humanity was united for the first time in history, not by choice but by fear. Admiral Rhea Morgan stood at the center table. Her uniform was unadorned, save for the insignia of the Terran Defense Command. Her eyes were hard as polished glass. Around her, the air thrummed with tension. Presidents, ministers, and military heads whispered in disbelief, watching the alien broadcast replay for the 100th time. Tor's image loomed over the table, repeating the same smug words: "Submit or perish." When the feed ended, silence hung heavy. Finally, Rhea spoke. "He gave us a choice," she said, her tone calm, almost cold, "but not one I intend to take." Across the table, Director Ethan Voss, head of Earth Intelligence, tapped a command into his tablet. The hologram shifted, now displaying a detailed analysis: star maps, intercepted signals, fleet movements. "The Galactic Empire," he began, "spans at least 200 systems. They've subjugated 27 sentient species. Their fleets are massive, but their arrogance is worse. They've never faced a war they didn't start, and they've never fought one they couldn't win." He looked up, his gray eyes meeting Rhea's. "Until now." The council murmured uneasily. The president of the Pan American Union leaned forward. "Are you suggesting war, Admiral? Against them?" Rhea didn't blink. "I'm suggesting we stop pretending we have a choice." On the display, Tor's ship appeared. An obsidian dreadnought parked in Earth's orbit, casting a dark shadow over the Pacific. Imperial banners glowed along its hull, symbols of dominance stretching across alien metal. The ambassador had demanded an audience, claiming it was mercy in person. Against the advice of half the council, Rhea agreed to meet him. Hours later, in the secured chamber, the alien strode and surrounded by guards, tall, sinewy beings in glimmering armor. His golden eyes swept over the humans with open contempt. "So this is the Terran High Council," Tor sneered. "Fragile. Small. So many leaders for such a tiny world." Rhea rose slowly from her seat. She was nearly 2 feet shorter than him, yet her presence filled the room. "You've traveled a long way to insult us," she said. The alien smirked. "You misunderstand. I offer opportunity. The Empire brings civilization. You should be honored." Rhea stepped closer, her voice low but cutting. "We've seen civilizations like yours before. They all thought they were gods until they bled." The ambassador's expression faltered for the briefest moment, before amusement returned. "Defiance from insects? How quaint." He turned to leave, dropping a metallic sphere on the table, a beacon pulsing faint red. "This device will transmit your answer to our Emperor. You have 3 rotations of your planet to comply." As the doors sealed behind him, the council erupted in argument. Some demanded negotiation, others cried for immediate retaliation. But Rhea raised a hand, silencing them all. "Director Voss," she said, "what's the probability that they'll attack regardless of our answer?" Voss didn't hesitate. 97%. "Then let's make sure they regret it." Rhea walked to the edge of the room, gazing at the holographic globe of Earth spinning slowly above the table. "For centuries," she said, "we've been told humanity's greatest weapon is its adaptability. That's wrong. It's our memory. We remember every invasion, every massacre, every tyrant that thought we'd kneel. And we remember how they ended." She turned, her eyes cold fire. "They sent a threat. We'll send back a message." The council fell silent. Even the room's ambient hum seemed to still. After a long pause, Voss nodded slowly. "I'll activate the Revenant protocols," he said. "Covert, surgical, untraceable." Rhea's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Good. Start with their diplomats. The galaxy needs to understand. Earth does not submit." Outside, the alien dreadnought loomed against the dawn sky, its hull reflecting the rising sun. Inside, humanity made its decision. The countdown had begun, and the Galactic Empire had no idea what kind of monsters it had just awakened. The silent retaliation. The Galactic Empire waited for surrender. Days passed since the ultimatum expired. No transmissions came from Earth, no envoys, no apologies. In the throne chambers of the imperial capital, this silence was mistaken for fear. Emperor Zatharin called it the sound of submission. But far beyond their sensors, deep in the dark between Neptune's orbit and the Kuiper Belt, something ancient and quiet stirred. Humanity's hidden claws. The Terran Defense Command's Black Division had been built for a war that was never supposed to happen. Stealth fleets, cloaked bases, and ghost ships designed to move unseen through space. The public never knew they existed. Now, they were all that stood between Earth and extinction. Colonel Gene Park stood on the command deck of the stealth cruiser Wraith 1. The ship's interior was matte black, absorbing light like a shadow that had learned to breathe. Around him, operators worked in silence, faces dimly lit by the blue glow of holographic screens. He opened a secure channel to Director Ethan Voss back on Earth. "Revenant fleet is ready," Park reported. "Targets confirmed across 12 systems. Diplomatic Corps first." Voss's voice came through cold and clear. "Make it clean. Make it quiet. They wanted submission. Give them silence." Park nodded once and cut the line. The operations rules were simple. No survivors, no transmissions, no trace. Within hours, small human ships slipped from the shadows, their surfaces rippling with adaptive camouflage derived from alien stealth tech Earth had captured years ago. They moved unseen through subspace, hunters in a sea of stars. Their first target was the Orven station, a glittering diplomatic outpost orbiting a crimson world. Inside, alien envoys dined beneath crystal domes, laughing at the primitive humans who dared to defy an empire. Their laughter ended when Wraith 1 arrived. No explosions, no alarms, just a ripple of light, a brief shimmer, and then the station's life support failed silently. Every being aboard suffocated within minutes as emergency systems mysteriously refused to activate. To outside observers, Orven simply went dark. Across the galaxy, other embassies suffered the same fate. An envoy ship vanished mid-jump. A consulate on a desert moon was found burned from within. Another station drifted empty, its crew frozen in vacuum, still seated at their conference tables. The Empire called it coincidence. Earth called it Phase 1. Back on Earth, Rhea Morgan watched the stars from the orbital command station horizon. Her reflection hovered over the glass like a ghost. Below her, Earth spun, fragile yet furious. Voss approached, his tablet glowing with mission reports. "They've lost contact with 8 diplomats," he said quietly. "Kale Tor is next." Rhea turned. "He's still in orbit?" Voss nodded. "His ship's been broadcasting threats every 6 hours, demanding our surrender." Rhea's voice was ice. "Let him speak one last time." Moments later, Kale Tor appeared again, projected into the command chamber. He looked furious. "Terrence, you think silence hides your fear?" The Emperor grows impatient. This world will burn if. Rhea cut him off. You've mistaken silence for fear, Ambassador. It's preparation. He sneered. You dare. Her hand moved. Fire. From the upper atmosphere, an invisible railgun platform fired a single tungsten slug. It struck Kale Tor's shuttle mid-sentence, vaporizing it into a violet storm of fire. The chamber went quiet except for the soft hum of the destroyed signal. Rhea exhaled slowly. Now we reply. That night, in every major intelligence bunker, Earth's encryption networks came alive. Human operatives, hackers, spies, assassins launched Operation Revenant Phase 2. Their objective was psychological. Make the Empire doubt its supremacy. Broadcasts were hijacked across the outer colonies, showing only fragments of a single human phrase carved into alien hulls. Threat acknowledged. Response initiated. Rumors spread like wildfire. Imperial officers whispered of a human fleet that could vanish at will. Some claimed to have seen Terran ships phasing through shields. Others said Earth had harnessed ancient forbidden tech. Fear infected the Empire faster than truth could catch it. On the horizon, Rhea studied intercepted Empire communications. They're rattled, Voss observed. They don't understand how. Good, Rhea replied. We're not supposed to fight fair. We're supposed to make them afraid to fight at all. By the third week, every alien diplomat once assigned to Earth was dead. Some were found drifting through space in their ceremonial robes. Others never found at all. Each time the Empire tried to investigate, their teams disappeared too. In one transmission recovered by human intelligence, a panicked alien officer screamed, "They're not soldiers, they're ghosts." The Terrans don't answer. They erase. Rhea stood in silence as the recording ended. For the first time in history, the predators of the galaxy were learning what it felt like to be prey. Still, Voss was unsatisfied. We've made them fear us, he said, but we haven't made them understand us. Rhea's gaze hardened. Then it's time they did. She ordered the construction of a message, a symbolic act of defiance that would make even the Emperor listen. Human operatives gathered what was left of the alien envoys, sealing them in cryostasis containers marked with an ancient emblem, the blue earth and white stars. Send them back, Rhea said simply. To where? Voss asked. She met his eyes. Home. Hours later, stealth ships departed Sol System, carrying the frozen bodies of the Empire's envoys toward the Imperial capital. No transmission, no declaration of war, just the bodies of the ones who had brought the Empire's arrogance to Earth. Each container bore a message engraved into its metal surface. You sent us a threat. This is our reply. As the ships vanished into the void, Rhea turned toward the stars, whispering to herself, Now, Emperor, let's see if you can still call us primitive. And across the galaxy, in the cold halls of the Empire, whispers began to spread, not of Earth's weakness, but of its vengeance. The silence was over. The retaliation had begun. The message delivered. The Senate of the Galactic Empire was a cathedral of light and arrogance. Columns of crystal rose 100 meters high. Banners of alien worlds hung suspended in the air, and at its heart sat the Emperor himself, Zathrin the Infinite, ruler of 200 worlds, conqueror of 50 species. He sat unmoved as chaos unfolded before him. Across the chamber, senators shouted over one another, panicked voices from once loyal vassal worlds. Reports filled the air like smoke. Embassies silent, fleets missing, diplomats murdered. The Empire's communication relays burned with confusion. 10 diplomats lost, cried one senator. 17 embassies gone dark, another shouted. Your Majesty, it's the Terrans. They're killing our envoys. The Emperor rose slowly, his obsidian armor catching the light. His voice silenced the hall. Humans, he said with disdain, do not have the technology to wage war across the stars. This is sabotage, pirates, lies. But even as he spoke, the chamber doors trembled. A tremor rolled through the palace walls. Not an explosion, but a pulse like a heartbeat. The lights dimmed. The holographic banners flickered. Every security drone turned its sensors toward the ceiling as something entered orbit above the Imperial homeworld. An officer sprinted into the chamber, his voice breaking. "Your Majesty, a Terran ship has breached the perimeter. No identification, no weapons lock, no response to hails." Zathrin's golden eyes narrowed. "Destroy it." "Already tried, sire. Our weapons passed through it." For the first time in a millennium, the Emperor hesitated. "Bring it to the Grand Docks. I will see what these primitives dare to send." Moments later, a single human vessel descended into the capital's docking cradle. Small, gray, unarmed, its hull marked only with a single emblem. A blue earth encircled by 12 white stars. The Senate gathered to watch. Thousands of aliens, nobles and soldiers alike, lined the balconies as drones scanned the vessel. It emitted no signals, no power readings. Only one transmission was sent, repeating every 60 seconds. "Message from Earth. Plate immediately." Against the Emperor's command, curiosity triumphed. The Senate's primary display lit up. The holographic feed opened, and there she was, Admiral Rhea Morgan, standing before a long steel table draped with black cloth. Her uniform was immaculate, her expression colder than the void. Behind her, motionless and arranged with clinical precision, lay a row of bodies, alien diplomats, perfectly preserved, each wrapped in their homeworld's flag. Even the senators who despised humanity fell silent. Rhea spoke slowly, her words sharp as a blade. "To the Galactic Empire, your ambassadors came to our home demanding our surrender. They threatened our people, our world, and our right to exist." She placed her gloved hand on the table, the camera tightening on her steely gaze. "This is our answer." A murmur rippled through the Senate chamber. Rhea continued, her voice calm, deliberate, the tone of someone who had already won. "For every threat sent to Earth, we return silence. For every insult, we return consequence. For every diplomat who carried your arrogance to our planet." She gestured slightly. The camera panned to the alien corpses. "We send them home as witnesses to your failure." One of the senators screamed in outrage. "Barbarian, you dare." But Rhea wasn't listening. Her eyes were locked on the lens. "We are not your vassals. We are not your subjects. We are the descendants of extinction, the survivors of every empire that thought itself immortal. You mistake our silence for weakness. It is patience, and patience is the last mercy you will ever receive from humanity." The feed zoomed closer to her face, her eyes glinting with reflected starlight. "You send us a threat. We reply with your dead. If your fleets come for us, your admirals will join them." For a moment, even Emperor Zathrin could not move. Then, as if scripted by fate, Rhea's transmission ended with one final phrase, spoken in an almost whisper. "We are humanity. Remember that name before your sky burns." The feed cut. The chamber erupted in pandemonium. Senators screamed for vengeance. Some shouted to flee the hall. Others demanded immediate mobilization. But before anyone could act, alarms blared through the palace. The Terran ship, the one they had captured, was powering up. "Evacuate the docks," someone yelled. "It's going to explode." Too late. The vessel detonated with impossible precision. Not a chaotic blast, but a controlled implosion of light. The shockwave shattered glass across the Senate, scattering fragments of alien banners through the air. When the smoke cleared, only one thing remained intact. A piece of the Terran hull, drifting through the air, burned into it the words, "Message delivered." The Emperor stared at it, motionless. For the first time, fear, cold and real, crept into his mind. He turned to his generals. "Prepare the fleets. I want Earth erased from the stars." But as his command echoed through the hall, one of his aides whispered, trembling, "Sire, with respect, our outer fleets, they've stopped responding." The Emperor froze. "What do you mean, stop?" The aide swallowed. "No signals. No returns. The systems show nothing, as if they were never there." In that moment, the Emperor understood. The Terrans had not merely sent a message. They had already begun the war. Rhea Morgan's image flickered once more on the remnants of the transmission feed, replaying her final line like a curse. "We are humanity. Remember that name." The Emperor clenched his fists, claws digging into the throne's armrests. Then let the galaxy remember how the Empire destroys monsters. But somewhere far beyond his reach, in the cold darkness between stars, those monsters, humanity's fleets, were already on the move. And every one of them carried the same insignia. Earth's blue flag, and the words, "No more threats." The Empire burns. The stars over Sol burned brighter that night. From the observation deck of the horizon, Admiral Rhea Morgan watched the holographic war map flicker into chaos. Red sigils, the Empire's fleets, filled the outer edges of the Sol system. They had come with overwhelming force, 100 battleships, 30 carriers, and legions of drones. Humanity's scanners reported the same message again and again. The Empire is here. But Rhea didn't flinch. She had been waiting for this. "Status?" she asked, voice calm. "Orbital defense networks online," replied Commander Hughes. "Lunar rail platforms charged. Iron Sky AI fully synced. Every planetary shield is active. Civilians are underground. Earth is ready, Admiral." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Then let's show them how Earth says hello." The moment the first Imperial dreadnought breached Mars' orbit, the trap was sprung. Thousands of satellites hidden within asteroid fields activated at once, releasing swarms of autonomous drones, black as shadows, fast as bullets. They weren't designed to fight fair. They attacked reactors, sensors, propulsion units, the veins of every enemy ship. The Empire's commanders shouted in confusion. "Where are their fleets?" "They're everywhere. No, inside our systems." On board the flagship Eternal Dominion, an alien admiral watched in disbelief as his radar blinked out one by one. The void around his ship shimmered, and then the railguns fired. From the moon's far side, tungsten slugs screamed across space at hypersonic speed, invisible until impact. One after another, Imperial ships detonated like collapsing stars. In less than 30 minutes, half the invasion fleet was gone. But Rhea knew better than to celebrate. "This is only the first wave," she said. "They'll send everything now." Voss appeared on the hololink beside her, expression grim. "They already have. 3 more armadas inbound. Estimated 4 days to Sol." Rhea smiled faintly. "Good. It saves us the trouble of hunting them." In the throne chamber of the Imperial capital, Emperor Zatharin stood before a shattered holographic map. Every report screamed catastrophe. 3 fleets lost. For colonies silent. Outer Rim communication has ceased, Your Majesty. Our border worlds are falling without battle. Entire systems wiped. The Emperor's claws dug into his throne. How he hissed. How can one planet destroy an empire? His generals said nothing. Fear clung to them like oil. The Terrans fought with no pattern, no warning, no mercy. They attacked trade routes, communication hubs, power grids. They didn't capture, they erased. And now, for the first time in millennia, the Empire was bleeding. Back in Sol, the war escalated into legend. At Neptune's orbit, the Iron Sky fleet engaged the Second Imperial Armada, a spectacle of destruction visible even from Mars colonies. Human railguns fired in rhythmic unison, turning the void into streaks of molten light. Imperial ships tried to advance, but humanity's AI-driven countermeasures scrambled their targeting. For every human ship destroyed, 5 Imperial cruisers fell. Colonel Gene Park, commanding the Stealth Wing Wraith Squadron, led infiltration missions deep into enemy fleets, planting gravitic mines that tore warships in half. Each time he reported success, Rhea's only reply was the same phrase. Good. Burn their arrogance. By the end of the second day, human forces had done the unthinkable. They had driven the Empire out of Sol. Earth's skies cleared, but Rhea's eyes stayed fixed on the stars. She knew the Emperor would not stop, and neither would she. Phase 3 of Operation Revenant began. Human fleets surged outward, no longer defending but invading. The Terrans struck at the Empire's trade systems, its fuel worlds, and its communication cores. They didn't conquer, they dismantled. When the Empire's admirals demanded parley, their ships were found adrift days later. Empty, their crews vanished. One Empire broadcast finally reached the capital before being cut off. They're not fighting for victory. They're fighting to make sure no one ever threatens Earth again. On the bridge of the human flagship Leviathan, Rhea stood before a massive display of the Empire's core world, Zatharin Prime, the seat of galactic power, the place where Kale Tor's arrogance had been born. Vasa's voice came through the comms. Target coordinates confirmed. Atmospheric defenses active. You're about to make history, Admiral. Rhea's gaze was steady. No, I'm about to make a point. She turned to her crew. Begin descent. As the Leviathan entered the Empire's skies, every defense platform opened fire, but the humans had learned well. The ship's rail shield deflected plasma like rain. Behind it, thousands of Terran drones poured into the atmosphere, cutting through defense grids like blades through silk. Cities burned. Towers crumbled. The Emperor's palace shook. From his balcony, Zatharin stared in disbelief as a shadow grew across the horizon, humanity's flagship descending through clouds of fire. He roared to his guards, "Fire on them! All weapons!" But nothing answered. His systems were dead. His empire was silent. The palace doors exploded inward. And there she was. Rhea Morgan stepped through the smoke, her armor scorched, her sidearm drawn. The Emperor stood tall, but there was fear in his eyes now. "So," he spat, "you come to beg for peace?" Rhea holstered her weapon. "No," she said softly. "I came to deliver the message myself." She reached into her coat and threw something at his feet, a fragment of Kale Tor's insignia, char-black. The Emperor's breath caught. "You killed them all." Rhea met his gaze without a flicker of emotion. "No," she said. "You did, the moment you threatened us." Outside, the palace shook as human warships unleashed the final bombardment. Light filled the sky like dawn. The Empire's capital burned. Rhea turned away before the roof gave way, whispering into her comm. "All units, transmission ready." Across the galaxy, every surviving Imperial channel came alive one final time. Rhea's voice echoed through the void. "To the galaxy, let this be remembered. The Empire sent Earth a threat. Humanity replied, and now the Empire burns." When the light faded, the Galactic Empire was gone. Its fleets shattered, its capital in ruins, its emperor lost to fire. Earth stood alone among the stars, scarred but undefeated. Humanity had proven what every conqueror in history learned too late, that threats only make humans more dangerous. From the ruins of Zatharin Prime, a new banner rose, a white star over a blue Earth. Humanity's promise to the galaxy. Never again.